Hey, Kenobi. Hey, Commander, looking good? Kenobi, you look worse for wear.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Keegs, and since Quinlan's name keeps popping up everywhere, from Clone Wars to the Vader comics, now in Kenobi, I thought, now's a good time to give a history of the character of Quinlan Vos and why he might actually be important to future Star Wars content that's coming out, and I wouldn't even be surprised if we might even see him in live action. Quinlan was born on the planet Kifu, and he was eventually brought into the Jedi Order and apprenticed to Master Tholme. Sometime after being apprenticed to Master Tholme, his master was sent on a mission to engage in battle with Separatist forces during the Clone Wars. Unfortunately, in this battle, Master Tholme was killed by the orders of Dooku. Soon after, Quinlan rose to the rank of Jedi Knight and made a name for himself due to his expert tracker skills. Quinlan was able to use his Force ability that allowed him to see the memories of objects that he touched. This ability goes by a few names: psychometry, retrocognition, or Force echoes. If you've played Jedi Fallen Order, you would also know that Jedi Knight Cal Kestis possesses this same exact ability. Being such a great tracker, this often put him on missions where he would have to be undercover in the criminal underworld. And in this criminal underworld elements, he often gained a reputation of bending the rules of what a normal Jedi would typically follow. While on a mission to Ryloth, he encountered a Force-sensitive girl named Aayla Secura and took her as his Padawan. And we've met her multiple times through the Clone Wars and through the movies, and unfortunately we do know she is not one of the lucky ones to have survived Order 66. The first time we see Quinlan Vos is actually in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, where he's hanging out in the Mos Espa port city on Tatooine, though it's a very brief cameo. Our first introduction to Quinlan Vos in the canon through actual substantial means was in Season 3, Episode 9, I believe, of the Clone Wars. We see him team up with Obi-Wan Kenobi to hunt down the Hutt Zero and find out why Jabba's nephew was taken. Kenobi, being a stickler for the rules, doesn't quite see eye to eye with Vos and can often clash in methods they choose to use. However, Obi-Wan does respect Quinlan's abilities and skills as a Jedi. Sometime after the events of Season 6 of the Clone Wars, Quinlan is elevated to a Jedi Master and the book Dark Disciple comes out. I wish I had some more pictures about this time in Quinlan's life, but since they haven't made a picture book for me yet, we'll just have to make do. This starts off with Quinlan tracking a crime lord when his Jedi Knight friend Desh of the Moran species shows up and tells him that the Council has a new mission for him. They team up together and quickly take out the crime lord that he was tracking and travel back to Coruscant, where the Jedi Council tasks Quinlan with an undercover mission to assassinate Count Dooku by teaming up with the now bounty hunter, former Dooku apprentice, Asajj Ventress. This is honestly probably the lowest point the Jedi ever sank to, because they sanctioned an assassination, but that's a video for another time. He pretends to be a bounty hunter and teams up with Ventress. Though she initially doesn't like Quinlan, she admits he's a good bounty hunter, and after a few weeks of working together, they begin to form an attachment. After one mission where they are rescuing some children, Quinlan is forced to use the Force, no pun intended, in order to save one of the kids. After the mission is over, he decides to tell Ventress that he's actually a Jedi on a mission to kill Count Dooku with her aid. To which she basically replies, "Obviously you're Jedi." And seeing that this could be her one chance to get revenge on her former master, she agrees to help him, but also says that he's not going to be able to be defeated without using the dark side. And thus she begins training him as her apprentice, or as you might say, her disciple. She takes him to train on Dathomir because of its strong connection to the dark side of the Force, and he's a little reluctant at the beginning, but at one point, Ventress tells him that it was Dooku that killed his master, and he finally lets loose and is able to use the dark side. At this point though, he's more like a dark Jedi, not a Sith, because he still feels compassion as well as a sense of right and wrong. Eventually, Ventress meets up with an informant and tells her where Dooku's hiding. She then immediately kills that informant, to which Quinlan objects, though continues on with the mission. They try fighting Dooku and fail miserably, and Dooku captures Vos, sensing the darkness within him, and he decides he's going to try to train him and turn him to the dark side as his new apprentice. Quinlan's able to resist pretty well until Dooku shows him that it was actually Ventress that kills his master, though albeit it was on Dooku's orders, but that's what did him in. Quinlan Vos was now a Sith apprentice and completely consumed by the dark side. He adopts the name Admiral Enigma and is the right hand of Dooku for the next several months until Ventress teams up with the Jedi to get Vos back. They're successful in their mission in bringing Vos back, though Ventress sees in his eyes that he's completely consumed by the dark side. She tries to warn the Jedi, but they actually don't believe her and welcome him back with open arms. Quinlan spends the next several months sabotaging Jedi missions, and eventually the Council begins to suspect that Quinlan is behind these sabotages. Yoda interviews Quinlan and believes he has turned to the dark side, but ultimately the Council give him one last mission to see if he really is evil now. Assassinate Dooku. He has to perform the same task that he was initially tasked with and what led him and drove him to the dark side, but this time, Vos is now quickly able to defeat Dooku using his full might of the dark side, and he decides here that he'd actually rather be an apprentice to someone stronger, to Dooku's master, Darth Sidious. The Jedi were trailing him though, and when they see him talking to Dooku and not assassinating him, they're able to step in and apprehend the both of them. Obviously, at this point, everyone feels betrayed by him, everyone in the Jedi Order at least, but none more than his friend Desh. In his captivity, Quinlan is able to lure Desh over to him. He's then able to ignite Desh's lightsaber and free Dooku. The two darkside users fought Jedi Knight Desh and Cav Bayons and are able to kill them both. They run and meet up with Ventress in a hangar, who is just kind of standing by horrified to what's happened around her, and they try to make an escape for it. The ship is shot down and all three of them get out, though a little worse for wear. Quinlan persuades Dooku to tell him who his master is, but just before Dooku says anything, the Republic ships shoot at them, causing a momentary distraction, to which Dooku decides to use a lethal blast of Force lightning on Quinlan and take out the injured Ventress next. But at the last second, Ventress jumps in front of Quinlan and saves him. Outraged, Quinlan beats up Dooku, and just before he kills him, he stops and turns back to the light side, turning off his lightsaber and denouncing the dark side entirely. He runs back to Ventress as she dies in his arms, and Dooku is able to get away. Obi-Wan was able to see the exchange and realizes that Quinlan has turned back to the light side, and his mind is no longer clouded by the dark side, and argues for his reinstatement in the Jedi Order. The Council isn't happy about it, but agrees as long as they can keep a close eye on him. That's probably the weirdest thing that happens in this book, because he literally just killed two Jedi Knights, but like, I guess like he's nice now? Gotta count for something, right? He's really sorry for killing those two Jedi, but I don't know. They end up letting him back into the Jedi Order though, and he goes back to being a general in the Republic Army. He goes on his final mission to Kashyyyk to fight alongside the Wookiees, where coincidentally Yoda is, and also coincidentally this is the exact time that Order 66 happens. Now actually at this point he has a new love interest named Colleen Hence, which we actually know basically literally nothing about, but those two together are able to fend off the other clones that are trying to kill, I guess, Quinlan, and they're able to escape, and that's really the last we heard about him for a long time. We learn in the Darth Vader comics issues 7 and 8 that the Emperor has a list of presumed Jedi to have survived the Purge, and Quinlan Vos is alluded to be one of these Jedi. Darth Vader then sticks the Inquisitors on all of the people in this list. We learn in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show that Quinlan is working with Tholme, helping Force-sensitive kids escape through an underground railroad.
Quinlan was here.
Yeah, he helps now and again. Smuggling younglings.
And that's basically all the information right now about Quinlan Vos, and he's basically a Jedi Master that succumbs to the dark side with the help of Asajj Ventress, but through his love to Asajj, he is able to turn back to the light side. Until more is learned about him, we can safely assume though that he's still alive during the events of Kenobi and is shepherding kids to, the Outer Rim, or I should say away from the Empire. His attunement to the dark side is likely how I believe he was able to escape Order 66 by tapping into some of that power, and also is probably what kept him alive after Order 66 and concealed, and nobody really knew he was a Jedi after that, so that's probably how he's been getting around it, because the dark side is able to cloud people's judgments, and I think that is going to be very important in the future for him, because I think we are going to get some more Quinlan Vos content, especially because Kenobi just loves throwing these hooks out for new spin-offs or tie-ins. Let me know what you guys think about this guy though, and was there anything that I missed more about Quinlan Vos in the canon universe, I should say. But until next time, I'll catch y'all later for some more Star Wars content.